The crate came in on the Tuesday barge, manifested as salvage. Secondary coolant fittings, reclaimed, condition unknown. That was how they listed it. 14 kilos of reclaimed coolant fittings. I had been registrar at Keth 9 for 31 years. I knew what 14 kilos of coolant fittings sounded like when you moved the crate, and I knew what they didn't sound like. They didn't sound like breathing. I waited until my second dock hand went to lunch. Then I cut the seals myself. She was curled in the corner of the crate, the way a child curls when there is no comfortable way left to lie. Knees pulled up, one small hand pressed flat against the wall, as if she could push through it into something better. Pale blue skin, the particular shade of early morning ice. Ears that came to a fine point above her silver hair. Eyes that opened when the light hit her, and looked at me without blinking. The color of old amber. The color of something that had been waiting a long time. I did not say anything reassuring. I am not built that way. I reached in and lifted her out and set her on the bench and handed her the water tin from my belt. She drank without breaking eye contact. When the tin was empty, she set it down on the bench with a small, careful click and sat still, watching me. "All right," I said. I locked the dock bay, went to my office, and changed the manifest entry. 14 kilos of reclaimed coolant fittings became 13.8 kilos of reclaimed coolant fittings, and a notation that the remaining weight discrepancy was under investigation. It wasn't elegant. It bought me the afternoon. Her name, as best I could gather in those first days, was something that started with a sound I couldn't make with a human throat. A soft click at the back of the palate, then a falling tone. I settled on Kess. She didn't correct me. She said it back once, quietly, testing how it sat in the air between us, and after that she answered to it. She was small. She was thin. I will not say more than that. She needed feeding and warmth, and a bunk that wasn't the floor of a crate, and those things I could provide without asking anyone's permission. The Keth 9 depot had exactly 6 permanent residents, including me, and the other 5 had the particular frontier gift of not asking questions that didn't concern them. By the end of the first week, she was sleeping in the spare bunk in my quarters and eating whatever I put in front of her, and by the end of the second, she had learned where I kept the good tea and was making it for both of us in the mornings without being asked. She didn't speak much. What she said slowly and with precision, choosing each word, as if words were components she was responsible for not wasting. I respected that. It's how I've always worked myself. The commission sweep arrived on a Thursday, 3 weeks, and 2 days after the barge. There were 4 of them, a senior inspector and 3 recorders with data slates. They wore the gray and yellow of the Provisional Registry Commission, which meant they had authority over all biological units present in the resettlement corridor, without a verified registration number. That was the language they used. Biological units. I have been in registration work my entire adult life, and I will tell you that when a bureaucracy starts calling children units, you are looking at a system that has decided paperwork is easier than guilt. The senior inspector's name was Velt. He had the look of a man who had done this sweep many times and found it straightforward, which told me something about how the sweeps usually went. He asked to audit all biological units present on the station. I said certainly, and I handed him my current manifest. Keth 9 ran 22 registered personnel at peak shift, 6 permanent residents, and a rotating population of transient dock workers, whose registrations I processed and filed myself. Every one of them was on the manifest in good order. I was proud of my manifest. 31 years and not one citation. Velt's recorder ran a sweep of the station while he reviewed the document. I stood at my registry window and waited. I am good at waiting. It is most of what the job is. Kess was in the maintenance bay at the far end of Corridor C, helping my second dockhand sort reclaimed pipe fittings by diameter. She had been doing that since 7 that morning. My dockhand had taught her the sorting convention on day 4, and she had taken to it with the focused patience of someone who understood that useful work was a form of shelter. The recorder came back. He handed Velt a secondary slate. Velt looked at it. then looked up at me. "There is an unregistered biological unit in Corridor C," he said. "No," I said, "there isn't." He held up the slate. It showed Kess, standing at the parts table with a length of pipe in both hands, looking at the recorder with the direct, unblinking amber gaze she turned on anything new. I pointed to my manifest. "Entry 41, I said. He found it. I watched his eyes move across the line. Entry 41 read as follows: Keth 9 Depot Operational Register, Permanent Staff Role, Entry Date 3 weeks prior, registered by M. Soul, Station Registrar. Name, Keth Soul. Category, Apprentice Registrar, Grade 1. Station Number, KN9-041. Registered Dependent of M. Soul under the Frontier Settlements Personnel Act, Clause 14, Subsection C, which provides that a licensed registrar may enroll a dependent in the station roll at their own discretion, provided the enrollment is made in writing, countersigned by 2 witnesses, and filed with the Regional Depot Authority within 30 days. It had been filed with the Regional Depot Authority on day 2. My 2 dockhands had countersigned. I had 31 years of good standing with the Depot Authority and a filing record without a single error. The enrollment was legal, complete, and irrevocable, without a formal challenge through the Civil Registry Board, a process that took a minimum of 14 months. Velt read the entry twice. I watched him read it. I have spent my career watching people read documents, and I am good at knowing when someone is looking for a mistake and not finding one. "She is a minor," he said. "She is my registered apprentice and dependent," I said. "Both designations are legally filed. The Commission has authority over unregistered. She is registered," I said. Entry 41. The date of registration precedes your sweep order by 18 days. He looked at me for a long moment. I looked back. I am 63 years old. I have been looked at by men who wanted me to flinch for 63 years, and I have not developed the habit. "The regional authority will be notified," he said. "They have already been notified," I said. "By me, on the date of filing, as required by law." He closed the manifest. He handed it back. He and his 3 recorders left Keth 9 on the 1400 shuttle, and the Commission did not send another sweep to this station for the remainder of the resettlement period, which was another 4 years. I went down to Corridor C. Kess was still sorting fittings. She looked up when I came in. My dockhand made himself very busy with something in the far corner. "They're gone," I said. She set down the fitting she was holding. She looked at the table for a moment. Then she looked up at me, and something in her face that had been held very carefully still for 3 weeks let go, just slightly, the way a joint releases when the load is finally lifted off it. "Kess Souls," she said. She said it precisely, as she said everything, turning the name over to see how it was made. "If you want it," I said, "it's in the log either way, legal and filed." She picked up the fitting again and went back to sorting. I went back to my office. The manifest is still there. 31 years of entries, every one correct, every one legal, every one the simple truth of who and what is on this station. Entry 41 sits between a rotation notice and a dock certification. 4 lines of plain registry text, the most ordinary-looking thing in the book. She runs the filing now, has for 6 years. Her record is cleaner than mine was at her age, which I told her once, and she received it the way she receives most things, with a single nod and then back to work. That is the whole of it. I opened a crate. I wrote a name in a book. The Commission had authority over everything that wasn't registered, and so I registered her, and that was the end of their authority. Some things are that simple. You just have to know where the line goes.